The Galactic Union is a coalition of thousands of spacefaring civilizations bound by common laws, interspecies cooperation, and a deep obsession with cataloging and understanding all life across the stars. Knowledge is power, and in this society, the most respected status isn't held by warriors or empires, it's held by scholars. Researchers and biologists who can map entire ecosystems and identify species traits. At the heart of this obsession is the Union's Inner World Biodiversity Symposium, an annual event where species present the peak of their homeworld's evolutionary trees, the apex predator, the ultimate creature that dominates its environment with unrivaled efficiency. This event is treated with both scientific curiosity and an undercurrent of prestige. To be home to a terrifying or clever apex predator is seen as a marker of evolutionary triumph. As each delegation takes the stage, they unveil creatures of jaw-dropping capabilities: serpents that phase through matter, insectoids that inject neurotoxins, titanic avians that cause sonic booms in flight. Fear and fascination. But there is one delegation present that everyone is especially curious about. The Terran's Earth has only recently joined the Galactic Union, and much about humanity remains mysterious. Most other species evolved on planets with more stable climates and lower predator-prey competition, whereas Earth is infamously known as a death world, a planet where nearly every aspect of nature fights for dominance. Flora and fauna on Earth are aggressive, adaptable, and relentless. The Union's databases list countless dangerous Earth species: saltwater crocodiles, kosa, box jellyfish, Komodo dragons, and the infamous African Cape buffalo. But curiously, no definitive answer has been entered in the apex predator field. It's left blank deliberately by Earth. That omission creates a ripple of interest. The moment finally arrives. The host. A Shirith scholar named Vorawum, shifting hues across her translucent form, steps to the stage and formally invites Earth to present its apex predator. Her tone is polite but laced with expectation. The Terran delegation is led by Ambassador Conelaird, calm and seasoned diplomat. Instead of introducing some terrifying beast from Earth's jungles or oceans, he calmly states, "Our apex predator is already here." The crowd stills. Whispers and murmurs ripple across the room. From the back, a woman rises. She's human average. Height, lean, dressed in simple black fatigues. No armor, no weapons, no visible implants. There's nothing extraordinary about her at first glance, except her expression. She's not smug. She's not angry. She's not even trying to prove anything. She's simply smiling. And something about that smile makes several predator species in the audience instinctively lean back. Her name is Ash, and she walks to the center stage without a sound, without fear. The atmosphere changes. So there's a sudden awareness that this isn't a show of theatrics, this is real. Some species in the audience begin laughing or snickering. A Crescent diplomat, known for his species' physical prowess, scoffs. "This is your predator? She doesn't even have claws." To them, this is either a clever prank or a poorly chosen representative. But Ambassador Laird doesn't correct them. He merely folds his hands and replies, "You asked for our apex. She's what you're getting." Varuma, ever the neutral moderator, nods. Then let the demonstration begin. This moment is pivotal not just for the story, but for the galaxy's perception of humanity. Up until now, most species think of predators in terms of biological advantages: fangs, strength, venom. They do not understand what Earth has created. They are used to monsters that rule through brute power. They are not used to sentient predators who dominate by choice, by discipline, and by understanding their environment better than any natural creature ever could. Ash doesn't roar or growl, or bare her teeth. She just steps into the spotlight, prepared to show not tell the galaxy what Earth has made her into. The predator, we'll soon realize, isn't a beast. She is human. Following the initial shock of Earth's apex predator being a human woman named Ash, the Galactic Union's disbelief begins to morph into curiosity and then quiet tension. Species from across the stars had come expecting to see a creature. born from Earth's famously hostile biosphere. Instead, they are staring at an unarmored human with no visible weapons, no claws or mandibles, and no exoskeleton. Just Ash, Tom, unflinching, to dispel their doubts and fulfill the scientific protocol. The Union initiates a standardized trial series meant to measure predator aptitude. These trials are normally used to assess the most dangerous non-sentient creatures from death worlds. Applying them to a sentient being like Ash is unusual, but Earth doesn't protest. In fact, they seem almost amused. The first test is reaction time under threat stimulus. A high-speed drone is released into the testing chamber, firing non-lethal laser pulses designed to tag the subject's body. The drone moves unpredictably at supersonic speeds, making it virtually impossible for most apex predators to avoid being hit at least once. Ash doesn't just dodge. She flows. Her movements are refined and minimal. She doesn't leap or flail. She ducks under one shot, twists to the side, and pivots using the drone's own trajectory to reposition herself into a blind spot. Her eyes don't blink. Her breathing remains steady. 10 seconds in, she disarms the drone by catching its core rotor with 2 fingers. Gasps fill the auditorium. The second test is even more serious problem solving under escalating physical stress. Ash is sealed in a transparent chamber where a paralytic gas slowly fills the air. This challenge is designed to test cognitive function, survival instincts, and adaptability. Creatures that rely purely on brute force or reflexes usually fail. Ash doesn't panic. She doesn't waste time testing random solutions. She surveys her surroundings like a machine calculating outcomes. Then she rips a piece of her uniform, creates a crude gas filtration system with available materials, and uses her boot to crack open a hidden compartment beneath the floor. Inside is the pressure valve. She reroutes it and stops the gas flow without losing consciousness. She steps out before the timer ends. There's no applause, just stunned silence. And it's in that silence that the Union begins to sense something unnerving. This isn't peak human performance. This is trained behavior, learned, reproducible, meaning there could be hundreds, thousands more like her. One observer mutters. She has no cybernetic implants, no genetic augmentations. Another whispers, how can something so fragile move like that? The truth is, Earth has developed its apex predator not through natural evolution alone, but through cultural evolution. Humans didn't grow claws, they built knives. Didn't evolve wings, they built jets. And above all, they taught themselves how to survive anything. A Tavashan warlord, seated among the spectators, finally speaks up. She is nothing compared to our battle-born species. Let her face a real threat. The ambassador from Earth, Cone Laird, replies smoothly, she will. This leads directly into the third test, now hastily being arranged, direct combat simulation. Something originally reserved for creature versus creature trials, but now it's authorized due to the Union's curiosity and skepticism. But even before the combat begins, an important shift is already happening. Delegates are watching not just Ash, but the humans around her, how they carry themselves, how they move and observe everything. There is no fear, no bravado, just readiness. One Shirathi scientist compiles the performance metrics. So far, Ash's reaction time is 1.3 times faster than a Class V predator species. Her problem-solving efficiency under cognitive stress is the highest ever recorded in a non-organid sentient. Her psychological profile remains unshaken across every challenge. These aren't the results of instinct. These are the results of choice. The moment Ash stepped forward, the galaxy thought they were going to witness a beast in disguise. Instead, they are witnessing the quiet unveiling of a predator by design, not through nature's cruelty, but humanity's ruthless training, discipline, and experience born from centuries of war, survival, and struggle. The Union came expecting a monster. From the wild, they got something far more terrifying, a human who had been trained to master monsters. Despite Ash's impressive performance in the first two tests, reaction speed and survival under duress Many in the Galactic Union remain unconvinced. To them, these are demonstrations of skill and intelligence, not the primal dominance they associate with true apex predators. The Union is filled with species that evolve through brutal selection giants, who rule by sheer strength. Swarm minds with high ferocity, telekinetic hunters born in the gravity wells of neutron stars. And so they demand a combat trial, something undeniably raw, something real. Earth agrees. The test is set inside the Union's tactical neutral arena, a hyper-controlled environment used for diplomacy, sanctioned duels. It is designed to neutralize species-specific advantages. No environmental bias, no artificial aids, just combat. Two beings, one winner. For this trial, the Union selects a champion from one of its most feared warrior species, the Tavashan brute. Tavashans are towering, muscle-dense beings evolved from apex ambush predators. Covered in natural chitin plating and standing over 8 feet tall, single brute is capable of tearing reinforced metal bulkheads apart with its claws. They do not wear armor because they are armor. Their kind famously tore through pirate fleets during the Virak Rebellion without suffering a single casualty. The Tavashan champion selected Karvik is known even among his people for his combat record. A living weapon. Across from him steps Ash, still unarmored. Still calm, she doesn't look intimidated, she doesn't even stretch. Her demeanor sends a ripple through the crowd. To those watching, it's as if she's already analyzed everything she needs to win. The announcer bellows the start command. Duel begins. Karvik charges like a juggernaut, slamming the arena floor with each stride. The air ripples as he swings his hammer-like fist toward Ash's skull. Most expect the match to end in seconds. It does, but not how they think. Ash doesn't block. She pivots sideways, just enough to let the momentum carry Karvik forward. In the same motion, she strikes 3 points in rapid succession: his neck, his armpit, and his inner knee, exploiting pressure points even the Tavashans didn't realize were vulnerable. Karvik stumbles. He swings again, now enraged. She ducks, rolls, and delivers a precise kick to his supporting leg. He falls. Then, she dislocates his arm with a fluid joint lock, plants her knee on his chest, and simply waits. The match ends in under 12 seconds. Silence. Not shock. Not confusion. It's just complete horrified silence. This was not brute domination. This was human precision warfare, a combination of physiology, psychology, and decades of training condensed into seconds. The audience realizes with dawning terror that Ash wasn't just reacting, she was anticipating, analyzing, exploiting, and she never looked angry. That detail is what terrifies the observers most. The predator they just watched didn't win out of rage or bloodlust. She won because she'd already rehearsed his defeat in her mind. A dozen times before the match began. The analysts reviewing the footage are stunned. She never used more than 20% of her strength, one whispers. She struck non-lethally. Another notes she knew exactly how far to go. She mapped out his movement pattern before he closed the distance. And above all, they begin to realize, this woman, terrifying as she is not unique. She is a product. The implications are chilling. If Earth can produce humans like Ash creatures that can topple a galactic war champion in seconds without enhancements, then humanity has reached a stage of evolution that goes beyond nature. They are no longer just surviving their death world. They are refining its brutality into tools, into discipline, control, and victory. The Tavashan delegation sits quietly, nursing their bruised honor. Ambassador Laird steps forward and addresses the crowd. You asked for our apex predator, and now you've seen how she fights. The crowd says nothing, because in that moment, the Galactic Union collectively realizes humanity doesn't bring beasts to their arenas. They bring soldiers. Ash's overwhelming victory in the combat trial doesn't just shock the Galactic Union, it breaks. It's their framework for how they understand predators, threats, and species classification. For centuries, the Union has relied on carefully developed threat assessment models and apex species matrices to rank danger levels across the known universe. Every Deathworld creature, apex hunter, or warborn race has been neatly categorized till now and now. The data they've gathered on Ash doesn't fit. It terrifies them. In the aftermath of the duel, biologists, strategists, and defense analysts huddle in quiet conference rooms across the station, playing footage, comparing notes, and trying to understand just what they've seen. Ash, after all, showed no physical enhancements, no external weapons, and no exosuit. Every move she made came from muscle memory, intellect, and instinct. She outperformed their strongest champion using only what her species was born with, honed by training, shaped by adversity, but at its core, entirely biological and voluntary. As Alvanian researcher puts it bluntly during a post-symposium report, she did not win because of brute force. She won because she's part of a civilization that engineers its predators through discipline and culture, not genetics. That distinction hits the Union like a neural spike across known galactic history. Most apex creatures rely on a small set of survival tools: speed, armor, strength, or venom. Ash used tactics, timing, and restraint. The Union's classifications never accounted for such a complete synthesis of reason and lethality in a naturally evolved species. As the data pours in, Earth's planetary rating begins to change. Previously, Earth had been classified as a Class 5 Deathworld dangerous, certainly, but not uniquely so. There are planets with molten lakes, air filled with acid spores, or native species that prey on entire settlements. But humanity isn't just surviving their environment, they're thriving on it tanned. More importantly, they've learned how to weaponize everything they've endured. The Union's Central Threat Archive team meets in emergency session and issues an update. Asterisk, Earth's reclassification. Status, unclassified anomaly. Warning label. Predator civilization. Contact protocol, extreme caution. Diplomatic rating. Sentient apex predators. Asterisk in effect. The Union admits something that leaves a chill in the air. Humanity itself is the apex predator of Earth, and now they are among the stars. That realization sends shockwaves through military sectors, political circles, and especially among species that once mocked humans for their small stature, primitive biology, or short history as a spacefaring race. There's a sudden flurry of diplomatic recalls and quiet weapons policy reviews. Several minor species who previously disrespected human delegations now open channels to negotiate. Non-aggression pacts or offer cultural exchanges. Others panic in silence. The implications go beyond Ash. Every Terran now becomes a question mark. Who else among them is trained like her? Are their colonists this dangerous? What about their children? A chilling analysis is presented by the Krelkin Defense Institute. Humanity is the first species in recorded history to collectively train large portions of its population to operate at or near apex conditions. And worse, they don't do it for survival alone, they do it by choice. It's not just soldiers or special operatives. Earth has survivalists, martial artists, explorers, firefighters, even school children who take part in survival camps and obstacle training for sport. Humans willingly test their limits for fun, often in harsh or life-threatening environments. Who does that? It's only a predator with nothing left to fear. Meanwhile, back on the diplomatic station, Ash remains mostly out of sight. She's not giving interviews or basking in fame. Her job wasn't to perform for the galaxy. It was to redefine the question the Union asked. What is Earth's apex predator? The answer, now cemented in galactic memory, isn't a snarling beast. It's a woman in fatigues who didn't roar. Didn't posture, she simply stood up and showed them. The Union learns its most sobering lesson yet. Predators don't need to look monstrous. They just need to understand exactly how to end you. And choose not to. And now the galaxy understands why Earth has stayed so quiet until now. Because a species that dangerous didn't need to announce itself. It just needed to walk into the room. The symposium is over, but its impact continues to ripple through every level of the Galactic Union. Ash's performance in the trials, especially her defeat of the Tavashan brute, was more than a demonstration. It was a warning wrapped in discipline, wrapped in silence. The galaxy had looked for fangs, claws, and monstrous power, but instead found something far more terrifying: a human. More specifically, us. A human woman who didn't need to threaten anyone to dominate a battlefield. Now, after all tests are complete, it's time for the Earth delegation to return home. The shuttle is ready. The humans are gathering quietly, preparing for departure. Yet before they can leave, one final moment stops everything. From the audience, a small child steps forward. She's from a species called the Letharagental, furred. Beings from a lush, temperate world where violence is practically unknown. Their society values peace, communal learning, and nature. She must be no older than 6 in human years, and her eyes are wide with curiosity, not fear. She raises her hand and asks in a soft voice, "Do you like being a predator?" The question lands harder than any weapon Dotch already halfway to. The departure gate stops. Slowly, she turns around. Everyone watches. No one speaks. She kneels, so she's eye level with the child, and answers. Not with aggression, not with superiority, but with honesty. "No, I don't like being one." But Earth didn't ask us if we wanted to be predators. It made us become them. We grew up in storms, in fires, in places where survival wasn't promised. Every creature on our world, big or small, fights, and so did we. She pauses, her gaze softening. But we don't fight because we enjoy it. We fight because we had to. When we mastered it, we chose something harder than war: restraint. Heard words echo through the chamber. This isn't the speech of a monster. It's the philosophy of a species who faced extinction thousands of times, who built civilizations in the jaws of nature's worst temper, and still chose to build art, science, compassion alongside their strength. Then Ash stands, her tone firm, now not angry, not boastful, but measured. "So if you're asking if we'll use what we are to hurt others, no, that's not who we want to be. But if anyone comes for our world, if they try to conquer or enslave or erase what we've built, then we will show the galaxy what an apex predator can really do." She turns and walks away. The child doesn't cry. She doesn't cower. Instead, she nods, quietly understanding in a way even the oldest politicians in the room hadn't. Because at its heart, the lesson is this: predators don't always choose to hunt. Sometimes they choose to guard. Back aboard their ship, the Earth. Delegation reviews the updates being transmitted from across the galaxy. Changes are already happening. Diplomatic posture shifts from over 30 species. Several long-standing powers request direct communication channels with Earth. A few militarized empires place their fleets on non-provocation standby when near Terran space. Earth's entry in the Galactic Threat Archive now contains a footnote: "Contact with care. Apex predator in a sentient body. Extremely intelligent, socially complex, strategically non-hostile until provoked." This footnote becomes legendary, in fact, across several war colleges in the following months. New simulation modules are introduced titled, "If Humanity Decides to Hunt." The phrase becomes a warning whispered across navies and command halls. Don't let Earth hunt you. Won't survive it. Meanwhile, Earth remains calm. No aggressive fleets are launched. No demands are made. In fact, they send educational envoys, open cultural exchanges, and quietly build more relationships. But the galaxy never forgets what happened on Kavath Prime. They remember the human woman who didn't growl, roar, or strike first. She just stood up, and the galaxy, for the first time in a long while, learned what fear felt like, but also what hope felt like. Because maybe, just maybe, the apex predator wasn't there to conquer them. Maybe she was there to protect them from what lies beyond the stars, from each other, or from themselves.